kind of started with science because I've always wanted to be a doctor. From when I was younger, it's always been, I want to be a doctor. And I'm kind of a one-track mind person, so if I want something, I'm going to get it, or I'm going to find any way I can to get it. And so, like, growing up, and it's like, okay, I have to go to med school. What do I need for med school? Like, things like that, and it was always science. And so, coming to Lewis and Clark, I felt that, like, the biochemistry and molecular biology major had kind of all of what I needed to go to med school. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get all my science done and just see what happens. I kind of decided orthopedics early on just because growing up I've played sports. I've had teammates who've gone to orthopedics due to like a lot of injuries, and I thought, wow, this is something that could keep me involved in something that like I'm very passionate about, so sports in general. Working in the training room also helped kind of solidify it because it's like, okay, I'm working with these athletes and they're super cool and easy to talk to. But also my dad had rotator cuff surgery on both of his shoulders, and growing up he helped me a lot with just learning how to play softball. He was a big part of it, and so like knowing that he went to an ortho and they helped him out to be back to like who he is now was really nice. So that's something I thought I'd want to do in the future. Definitely studying for my MCAT. It's hard to find time being busy and a student athlete in spring. So it's been a lot of like late night studying, early morning studying to get it done. Trying to get in clinical hours, so working in the training room, volunteering at the hospital, and just all around like trying to find time to just write about myself. Like there's essays that I have to complete like for the application cycle, and it's harder than you think to write about yourself because you don't really talk about yourself too much, or you at least try not to. With working in the training room, I figured out a lot of things. I figured out that I really do like working with people, like having contact with them versus like sitting at a desk. I find it to be like more relaxing, and it's a good way to get to know people better. So I've met a lot of people or athletes through the training room, and it honestly makes the experience better. So while I'm helping them with treatment, like just talking to them, getting to know them, like you could tell that they're more at ease than if you're just sitting there and doing the treatment. For OHSU, you kind of go through like a volunteer application process, and they get to know you better, and you can pick like a couple of things that you like. So for example, I picked that I wanted to do like sports medicine or working with like cardiac or geriatric patients, and it just so happens that most of the population in the cardiac unit is elderly. Orthopedics for me was an interest because obviously I wanted to be a doctor and I want to go into orthopedic surgery. For cardiac and geriatrics, both of my grandparents who passed away, they kind of had like health issues growing up, and just in general in their later years they had a lot of health issues. My grandpa, for example, had a pacemaker, so that was kind of like cardiac, and yeah, my grandma as well had some heart issues. So volunteering at the hospital, I'll go once a week for 4 hours, and typically at the hospital I'll go around patients' rooms, I'll restock their rooms. I try my best to just kind of have conversations with them because they're there at the hospital and it kind of sucks, and they're in their room. So it's really nice to just talk to someone who's not like constantly poking at them or being like, can I collect some blood from you? Yeah, so I've learned a lot about just like people's lives and getting to know new people. And in my unit, there's new patients every week. So I see someone new every week, and I get to make like a lot of new connections and just learn more about like the people in Oregon in general. This past summer, I worked in a research lab for the Rogers Summer Internship Program. And during the summer, you go about like 37 and a half hours a week inside the lab. And at first it was kind of like a really big learning experience. Like I've never done it before. And you're growing up protein of interest in bacteria. And so you have to figure out, okay, like how long do I need to grow this for? What temperature works best? And so we did a lot of like test expression and try to figure out how that works. And then we went into like purifying it. So to measure a sample, we want it to be pure to make sure that's actually our sample. So it went through a long purification process. And finally, we got to measure its binding affinity, which is just how well like they stick together basically and work together. So with another protein. So I would grow both proteins at the same time and then run them through a fancy instrument called isothermal titration calorimetry, which is just measuring the enthalpy or heat that is being released when they bind together. I specifically wanted this specific lab because it's working with motor proteins and kind of tying it in with what I want to do in the future, being orthopedics. Definitely musculoskeletal. It works with motor proteins and just doing that kind of thing. And I thought, great opportunity to see like down at the like biochemistry molecular level and then kind of seeing the bigger picture later. Softball is a totally different beast. I mean, softball will physically drain me, but not as much mentally. So I could be physically tired and I'm like, oh, it's just softball practice. Like, it's something fun and like something to get my mind off of as a way to take off from like, okay, I gotta study for my MCAT, I gotta go to the lab and all these things. And it's like, it's a nice little break and relaxation. And it's also nice to do it with like people you know, people like you like to hang out with, your friends. And it's kind of just like my way of having socialization into like my busy schedule.